Alright, let's talk about one of the most famous people in human history. Jesus. Yeah, that Jesus. Now, whether you're religious or not, you have to admit, his life story is basically the greatest plot twist franchise ever written. It's got drama, miracles, betrayal, and a comeback that puts every sports movie to shame. So picture this: ancient Judea, a place where everybody had two main hobbies, arguing about religion and getting conquered by the Romans. It was a stressful time. Into this scene walks Jesus. He grows up, probably has an awkward teenage phase we don't hear about, and then starts his public ministry. He's teaching kindness, compassion, equality. Basically, hey, maybe don't be a jerk to each other. And the whole town looks at him and goes, wow, that sounds suspicious. He starts performing miracles, turns water into wine at a party, which, let's be honest, would make anyone the most popular guy in the room. He heals people who've been sick for years. He helps a guy who can't see to see again. He even feeds a massive crowd of thousands with just a few loaves of bread and some fish. The ultimate life hack for catering. You'd think people would be lining up to say, "Thank you, you're amazing." But instead, half the people are like, "Nah bro, that's illegal. You can't heal people on a Saturday. It's the Sabbath." Seriously, they were more upset about the timing than the fact that someone was just cured of a lifelong illness. Meanwhile, you've got the Roman soldiers just standing around in the background, fully armored, looking completely baffled. They probably signed up for epic battles and conquering new lands, not to be the security guards for a theological debate club. You can almost hear them thinking, man, we signed up for war, not advanced theology class. Is this on the final exam? But Jesus keeps going, and he starts getting followers. A lot of them. Crowds, hype, fans from all over the region. He was basically the world's first influencer, except his platform was a dusty hillside, and his content was life-altering sermons. No Wi-Fi, no sponsored posts, just pure, unfiltered charisma. He gathers his 12 apostles, his inner circle, which was basically the ancient version of a friend group chat. You had Peter, the impulsive one, Thomas, the skeptical one who always needed proof, and of course, Judas, who, well, we'll get to him. So, with his popularity soaring, you'd think the establishment would be on board, right? Wrong. The religious leaders, the Pharisees and Sadducees, were stressed. Their reaction was the ancient equivalent of seeing a new business give away free stuff. This guy is healing people for free. He's forgiving sins without the proper paperwork. He must be stopped. He's disrupting the market. They saw him as a threat to their authority, their traditions, and their whole system. They were the gatekeepers, and Jesus was basically handing out free keys to everyone. This is where the story shifts from a feel-good miracle tour to a political thriller. The religious leaders decide they've had enough. They can't stand his popularity, his message, or the fact that he keeps calling them out for being hypocrites. So they team up with the Romans, the very empire they despised. It's the ultimate, the enemy of my enemy is my friend situation. And suddenly, Jesus' story turns into the ancient version of a political drama, complete with backroom deals and a plot to take down the main character. They decide to arrest him, but they don't do it in broad daylight, in front of the crowds who admire him. No, that would be too logical. They do it at night, in a garden, after one of his own followers, Judas, betrays him for a bag of silver. At night. Because apparently doing it in the light of day would expose just how ridiculous and flimsy their whole plan was. It had all the subtlety of a secret club meeting in a treehouse. Then comes the trial. If you can even call it a trial. It was less of a legal proceeding and more of a chaotic, disorganized rush to a verdict they'd already decided on. It was held in the middle of the night, which was against their own laws. The accusers brought in witnesses, but their stories were all over the place. The scene was basically, do we have any solid evidence? Nope. Do we have reliable witnesses? They're all contradicting each other. Perfect. Let's proceed. Jesus barely says a word, which just makes them even more angry. They take him to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor, and Pilate is just standing there, completely confused. You can see it on his face. He's a Roman official. He deals with rebellions, tax evasion, actual criminals, and now he's got this peaceful guy in front of him, and the charge is, what, exactly? Blasphemy? Pilate is thinking, why am I even here? This is your internal drama. I have real criminals to deal with. He questions Jesus and finds no fault in him. He literally says, I find no basis for a charge against this man. So Pilate, trying to wash his hands of the whole situation, offers the crowd a choice. It's a tradition during the festival to release one prisoner. He presents them with Jesus, the miracle worker, and Barabbas, a known murderer and insurrectionist, a genuine bad guy. Pilate probably thinks, okay, this is a no-brainer. They'll pick the nice guy. But the crowd, riled up by the chief priests, goes absolutely brain-off mode. They shout, give us Barabbas. Pilate is stunned. He asks, then what should I do with Jesus? And the crowd goes for the worst possible option. Pilate basically looks at them, throws his hands up, and says, all right, man, your rules. He literally washes his hands in front of everyone to symbolize that he's not taking responsibility. It's the most famous, I'm just the manager moment in history. So they punish Jesus, they mock him, torture him, and ultimately crucify him, a brutal form of execution reserved for the worst criminals and enemies of Rome. And here's the craziest part. As he's dying, the sky goes dark, the earth shakes, and one of the Roman centurions standing guard looks up and goes, wait a minute, surely this man was the Son of God. Bro, now you think about it. A little late, don't you think? Talk about poor timing for an epiphany. But the story doesn't end there. This is where the franchise gets its legendary sequel. They place his body in a tomb, roll a giant stone in front of it, and post guards. Case closed, right? The establishment won. The movement is over. Fast forward 3 days. Some of his female followers go to the tomb, and the stone is rolled away. The tomb is empty. An angel is there, basically saying, why are you looking for the living among the dead? He's not here. Soon after, Jesus starts appearing to his followers. He just shows up, comes back like, miss me? And you can imagine every guard, priest, and politician who was involved in his death instantly updating their internal status to, we were hacked, or maybe, I was just following orders. The panic must have been immense. Their whole plan to silence him had backfired in the most spectacular way possible. His followers, who had been hiding in fear, are completely transformed. They go from being terrified and scattered to being the boldest preachers you've ever seen. They spread the message of his life, death, and resurrection everywhere. And here's the ultimate plot twist. The most ironic ending in the history of politics and religion. Rome, the same empire that condemned and executed him, eventually becomes the center of Christianity. The religion founded on this man they tried to eliminate becomes the official religion of the empire. You absolutely cannot write a more ironic ending. The guy they tried to silence became the reason that, thousands of years later, a huge portion of the planet follows a religion in his name, and that SY, the story of Jesus, isn't just ancient history or a religious text. It's the wildest, most dramatic, most unbelievable narrative that has ever shaped the world. Whether you believe in him spiritually or not, one thing is universally true. Jesus had the craziest fan base, the worst haters, the weirdest politics, and without a doubt, the most legendary comeback in all of recorded history. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more chaotic history.